Oh, my dad!
Okay, what's going on with your dad?
My dad is outside and he's bleeding and everything. He won't wake up!
Fabio Cementelli was found by his daughter, Isabella. He'd been stabbed multiple times.
Can you wake him up?
No, I can't touch him. He's bleeding and he's really scaring me. There's blood everywhere.
Ma'am, do you know what happened?
No, I just came home right now from school and there's blood everywhere.
Okay, well listen, I do have help on his way, okay?
Dad, please, Dad. No, Dad. I'm shaking him.
This case unfolds unlike anything I've ever seen. The sheer number of layers investigators have to peel back to get to the truth is staggering.
They were put in a police car that was monitored by video and audio.
Monica Sonia Cementelli, wanted for the murder of Fabio Cementelli.
What the Get me out of this car!
Woodland Hills, it's this quiet, peaceful suburban community. It's nestled in the San Fernando Valley. It's between the Santa Monica Mountains and the city of Los Angeles. But that peace is shattered when celebrity hairstylist Fabio Cementelli is found by his 16-year-old daughter Isabella on the patio, bleeding and unconscious.
Isabella, upon seeing her father injured on the patio, contacted 911. 911 told her to go out to Fabio and attempt to revive him.
Is he on this floor? On his back?
No, he's leaning over a chair. He's like over a chair.
The phone call that Bella made to 911 is really heartbreaking. What you hear in there is just somebody who's in complete shock and desperation. And so she's desperately wanting to get help for her father and still, I think, trying to make sense of what she's seeing.
Can you roll him onto his back? Somehow we gotta get him on his back, okay?
Okay, I'll try. I'm trying.
You're doing a good job. Yeah, keep going.
I can't. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dad.
It's hard to imagine what it would have been like for a teenager to come home. There's that shock of the unexpected, seeing her dad who's so injured. And I think when something happens in our home, I think it shatters every sense of safety that we have, because I think we all feel like if we make it home, we're going to be safe.
Emergency personnel arrive at the scene and they do whatever they can to try to save Fabio's life, but it's too late. He's pronounced dead. And this is when Detective Ryan Verna enters the picture and he gets a call to come to the Cementelli home.
We get to the crime scene. It's already locked down. The fire department's there. Police department, as far as uniformed officers, are already there. The scene has been taped off. Monica and the two daughters were across the street at a neighbor's house. The kitchen led directly to the patio where Fabio's body was. There was a large amount of blood in the patio area. Fabio had injuries in all the right places if you wanted to kill somebody. These were all stab wounds to his neck, his heart, his femoral artery. There was a large amount of blood loss. Los Angeles County coroner at the time determined that it was a homicide due to sharp force injuries.
Now, by all accounts, Fabio Cementelli is beloved by his clients, his friends, his family. So police have to look into his background to figure out who would have wanted him dead this badly.
Fabio Cementelli was an executive with a company called Wella. They were under the Procter & Gamble umbrella. He was an influencer within his group of hairstylists, was well known for styling hair of Hollywood A-list celebrities.
Not only was he the celebrity who did the hair of famous people like Jennifer Lopez or Jackie Chan, he was a very devoted husband and a devoted father to 3 children, one by a previous marriage, Luigi, and then he had 2 daughters, Jessica and Bella, with his wife, Monica. Monica Cementelli was Fabio's wife. They had met in Toronto and gotten married in 1997. She had been one of his clients and also a makeup stylist. She supported him and moved with him to the United States.
Welcome to Hollywood.
For anyone on the outside looking in, they really described it across the board as a love story. The children would tell things like seeing their mom and dad dancing around in the kitchen. When he came home from work, he called her his queen. And the people who knew him just felt like he was so lucky, as was Monica, that they had this dream marriage, an extremely happy family. They were getting ready within a few weeks of the time of his murder to celebrate their 20th wedding anniversary.
So detectives interview Fabio's wife, Monica, and their two daughters, Jessica and Isabella, at the neighbor's house.
Those interviews were mainly to establish what they had done that day and the time period around then, to find out, did their dad have any kind of enemies, anybody was, hanging around the house that shouldn't have been. When we interviewed Monica, every answer about Fabio potentially having an enemy or any issues, there was nothing. Fabio was a good guy. That was it. And we asked her about if she had any kind of stalkers or a boyfriend or anything else, and her answer to us was, my husband was my boyfriend.
After clearing the scene, investigators realized that this attacker also robbed the Cementilli residence. So now they have to wonder, is this a random crime that just went horribly wrong?
There was some evidence of ransacking in the house. Monica said that she thought there might be some jewelry missing. She thought maybe there were $11,000 missing.
Some of the evidence that was located was actually things that weren't found. There was definitely a camera system that was inside of the house, cameras that were placed outside the residence, and we discovered that the box should have been in the garage, but it had been taken. Where that DVR was located was up on a tall cabinet near the entry door from the garage to the actual house itself. We saw the wires hanging from the wall. Monica basically told us that Fabio is the one that knew how to access it. She didn't know anything about it and had no ideas about how it worked or operated.
It seems like everyone has a security camera these days, so investigators canvassed the neighborhood looking for any security footage of the attacker.
One of the neighbors on their security system caught these two figures, that looked like men, who were running down the street around the time.
We see the two individuals running towards the residence prior to the murder. The suspects are wearing oversized hooded sweatshirts with the hoods cinched tight to a hole that's about this big, so they're not exposed. There's not a lot you can see from the actual person besides the clothing. And these guys are running with intent. They're not jogging. So based on what we see on the video, it appears that these are going to be our suspects.
And there is one more moment caught on camera that jumps out to investigators.
We see that person wearing a distinct green hooded sweatshirt, again, after the murder occurs, driving away from the scene, and Fabio Cementilli's black 911 Porsche.
Using the neighbor's security footage, investigators are able to determine that it took these killers only 7 minutes to attack Fabio, ransack the house, and flee the scene in his Porsche.
The time that it took to commit this crime led us to believe that there was a plan in place to kill Fabio Cementilli and to make it appear as if there was a burglary.
And as is the case in most homicides, Fabio's body provides another clue to investigators.
Typically in an incident with an edged weapon, you will see defensive wounds, as if someone put their hands up to stop an attack and they got cut or slashed. There was nothing on Fabio, so it definitely appeared to be a
How you doing, buddy?
attack.
The crime scene's also telling investigators a lot about what may have happened both during and after this murder.
In the kitchen, there was blood transfer, some bloody shoe prints,
Doing good.
and
Love
also
to hear it,
some blood
bud.
droplets. The blood droplets
Can't
were
really
of interest
talk
to
too
us.
loud, my
They appeared
daughter's
to
in
be
the other
cast
room.
off as if someone had walked through with an injured body part and was bleeding. Our belief was that that blood was going to be related to our killer.
While the blood evidence is sent out for processing, Fabio Cementilli is laid to rest by his family and friends.
What'd you get up to today, buddy?
And it is here when something very strange happens.
At the memorial, which of course is filled with grieving friends and family, several people notice that there is a man who shows up who nobody knows. People are wondering who this person is, what is he doing there, and why is he spending so much time with Monica?
One of Monica and Fabio's friends was there and saw a person that they didn't recognize. She ended up taking some photographs of this person and forwarded it off to us. The mystery man at the memorial service also had a bandage on his finger.
Yeah, I have very fair share.
When we got the photos, she said she
He's
believed the
just
person
in the other
was
room
Rob,
sleeping,
that he may be
or getting ready
related
to sleep.
the racquetball or gym friends that Monica had.
Police were eventually able to identify the person that had been at the memorial as Robert Baker. He was a racquetball instructor for Monica Sementelli and several of her friends.
There's a lot going on in this investigation at the same time.
What you been
So
up to,
while
bud?
authorities are looking into this Rob guy, they actually find Fabio's stolen Porsche.
Fabio's Porsche was recovered just a few miles away from where the murder occurred. The Porsche had been dumped there the night of the murder and had been called in by a neighbor who had seen the Porsche sitting there for several days. Once we got out there, it was evident that there was blood evidence inside the vehicle. We could see it on the door panel.
Law enforcement run it through a DNA analysis, and it comes back with a match.
How much?
That
I
match
hear you,
was
buddy.
Robert Baker, the very person who had been at Fabio's memorial service.
The primary blood that actually came back as Rob Baker was actually inside the Porsche. There was some blood inside the house that came
I went
back as
bowling
well,
with my
but
daughter and
primarily
stuff today.
the
It was
hit
pretty
from
fun.
the Porsche.
Robert Baker pops up because if you've been convicted of a felony, your DNA is going to be in CODIS. And so they're thinking, who is Robert Baker?
Going back to when he was in his late teens, early 20s, he was a military police officer. He was dishonorably discharged from the military because he had an affair with his then wife's daughter. So he did some jail time for that.
He had a prior conviction for a sex offense of which he was a registered sex offender.
Upon coming out of the military, he got involved in the adult film industry, at which point that daughter that he had accosted became one of his adult film actresses. He had a pretty checkered past.
Rob Baker is now law enforcement's prime suspect in the murder of Fabio Sementelli.
Regardless of what happened in the house, Rob Baker never should have been in Fabio's Porsche. We knew the Porsche was at the house prior to the murder. We could see the Porsche leaving the murder scene on video. And we have Rob Baker's blood inside the Porsche. You know, when did Rob Baker cut himself? We know murder was taken with a sharp instrument, right? For all those reasons, we know that Rob Baker is most likely our guy.
Investigators immediately put up surveillance on Baker.
Based on the surveillance, it was clear that you have Monica Sementelli dressing up like she's going out for a night on the town with Rob Baker.
Investigators discover that not only is he her racquetball coach, but he is her lover.
There was affection shown between the two of them. And not only that, there was affection shown from Monica to other people as well. A bouncer at one of these dive bars. That was not typical behavior from a grieving widow. It definitely made us key in on Monica and what Monica was up to.
You have to keep in mind that if you're married and you're having an affair, you better pray that your husband or your wife does not end up dead. Because if you're having an affair, immediately they're going to think there's a motive for you to have committed this crime. You had Monica Sementelli, who allegedly had a fantastic relationship with Fabio, but when you dug down deep, she actually was, in fact, having a very, very, very steamy love affair with Robert Baker. And keep in mind, this affair didn't stop when he died. She continued to see him, took pictures with him. There seemed to be no indication that she was suffering in any way from the loss of her husband.
We set up
Suffering
an
would have been
appointment
better
with
if she said
Monica
grieving.
shortly after the surveillance went up on February 21st, 2017. And during that interview, we interviewed her, we interviewed Jessica, who was also at the house at that time. Jessica had told us that at one point Rob Baker slept a night at the house prior to the murder happening months before that. And the story was that Rob had drank too much and needed to sleep it off inside the house. When we asked Monica who Rob was that day, Monica did everything she could at the beginning to avoid talking about Rob Baker. But we led into it. We said, well, you play this racquetball, are you in a league? And you know, who would that be? And she goes, I think his name is Rob. Yeah, Rob. I think his last name is Baker. We go, okay, well, you know, this guy Rob, has he ever been to your house? No, Rob's never been to my house. Okay. Has Rob ever driven in the Porsche 911? No, he's never driven in the Porsche 911. So when you put it all together, we know that Rob Baker's been there because his blood's there. We know that Rob Baker's been in the car because his blood's there. We knew that we were getting a story from Monica and that it was inconsistent with what was actually going on behind the scenes with her.
Now, after the police interviews, investigators
headset costs
continued to
300
surveil
bucks.
both Monica
I mean,
and Robert
so?
Baker, and that includes
Dude, Nick, you're
their
obsessed with
social
money,
media
buddy.
activity and their cell phones.
Monica was definitely leading a double life at the time. Monica's public perception was that she was a grieving widow. She made Instagram posts, I think almost daily, about how she missed her husband. But in private, we know that there was this lusty relationship that was going on with Rob Baker behind the scenes. And while she's making these posts on Instagram for the public to see, that she's so upset and sad, within minutes she's sending nude images of herself to Rob Baker.
One of her friends said that when they had kind of racy talk among the friends, that sometimes Monica was prudish. And yet, from what we know from the investigation, it was the exact opposite. When she was with Robert Baker, she would go to thrift stores and she would buy clothes that were provocative, and they engaged in this elaborate sexual relationship. And I think the contrast, even among people who have affairs, was just remarkable in terms of how different she was in her appearance, in her behavior, and just about every aspect of her life when she was with Robert Baker versus when she was with her family.
The data from Monica's and Baker's cell phones provides even more insight into their relationship.
They end up uncovering a treasure trove of text and all kinds of messages between the two of them. When you look at their affair, it lasts for over a year before Fabio is murdered. There are thousands and thousands of communications between the two of them.
When she and Rob first started talking to each other, they were talking through traditional means, text messaging back and forth. As the relationship gathered steam, they began using Viber, which is an encrypted messaging app. When the investigators looked at the Viber messages, the overwhelming amount of messages sent and received by Rob Baker and Monica Simontilli was in the thousands per month. So there was constant communication between Robert Baker and Monica Simontilli. The night of the murder, all that changes. Viber is discarded for some reason, and now they begin using WhatsApp.
And there's one other aspect of how Monica was behaving.
My perception of Monica and her feelings on her safety and the safety of her family was that she wasn't overly concerned about it. Every time we would talk to Monica, we would say, "Hey, Monica, did you get the cameras system put back up?" She did change door locks, apparently, but at the same time, she never replaced the camera system to the house. If something had happened in my house, getting a camera system would be the first thing I would do. I would beg, borrow, or steal to make sure that my family was safe, and it appeared to us that her excuse for not replacing
Yo, I actually like that cop right there, what he just said. I'd beg, borrow, and steal to make sure my family is safe. You would never hear a cop actually say some shit like that. And that's like the realest fucking shit. That guy is a G. I'm just saying.
cameras was that the insurance hadn't come through yet. And that was a giant red flag to us as investigators.
And you remember how Monica told investigators that she didn't know how to access the DVR system that contained the security footage from the cameras at the house? Investigators find something else out.
There is data in her phone that suggests that she provided Rob Baker with the username and passcode to her surveillance cameras. It's determined that she's the one on the email from the security company when the cameras are installed, explaining how to get remote access to the cameras. And later on, it's determined that her data from her device shows that she's actually accessing those cameras on the day of the murder and had not accessed those cameras for months prior to that. And this is while she's at Target with her alibi and wasn't at home.
Yeah, Monica's alibi during the killing was that she was shopping at Target, but there's a problem with that.
On the day that Fabio is murdered, Monica leaves less than an hour before the murder happens, and she goes to Target.
While at the Target, there is video surveillance that's recovered from the parking lot showing her meeting with Robert Baker. After that, she reparks the vehicle, goes into Target. As she's leaving Target, that is when she's looking at her phone to the point where she almost runs into something with her shopping cart. That's at the exact moment where she's watching her video surveillance cameras on her phone. You can see the timestamps line up with everything that's going on at the time. And there's a massive amount of data coming from her phone because she's using the app to watch the video cameras. It's circumstantial evidence. Well, why is she looking at the videos? But if you add in context that this is something she hadn't accessed in months, why did she look at the cameras today, right after meeting with Rob Baker?
She also contacts Bella and tells her that before she comes home after school that her prescription glasses are ready. And so she asks her to go pick up those glasses before she gets home. And I think this is probably clearly a way for her to delay her daughter getting home. And so Bella gets home about 1 minute after the murder occurs. And then Monica arrives home very, very shortly after that. So it's really a risky situation. You wonder what would have happened if Bella had come home. Would they have killed her as well?
Hi, this message is for Julie. Julie, this is Monica Cementilli. We spoke today regarding my late husband's stock plans.
Another piece of that behavioral evidence after the murder is how quickly she begins focusing on money and the life insurance policy and how quickly that might happen.
When we had talked to Monica about the insurance early on in this case, we had asked her, did he have life insurance? She told us she had no idea.
My lawyer has the forms that you sent me, but we're just wondering, I need to know, am I the beneficiary? Is there a beneficiary? Otherwise, we have to go to court. And I don't know what the next steps are. If you can just let me know if you know there's a beneficiary.
Behind the scenes, Monica, she already knew there was life insurance. They're making calls. They're trying to get the money.
Hi, my name is Monica Cementilli. I'm calling on behalf of my late husband, Fabio Cementilli. I'm calling about his stocks and his RSUs. My lawyer can't get a hold of anybody, my state lawyer. I don't know what's going on.
If Monica successfully obtained the life insurance money, it would have been well over $2 million.
At this point in the investigation,
Clearly she's the
detectives
guilty one.
believe they have enough circumstantial evidence to tie Monica Cementilli to the murder of her husband, Fabio.
Law enforcement believe that she committed the crime for several reasons. One, for Fabio's life insurance policy, and also significantly so she could continue her love affair with Robert Baker.
Monica is tied into this case through a mountain of circumstantial evidence. When you have one piece of it, you can disregard it real easy. When you have hundreds of pieces of circumstantial evidence that point to the direction of a person, then you really got to take a look at it.
On June 14th, 2017,
What was that?
For several reasons. One, for Fabio's life insurance policy, and also significantly so she could continue her love affair with Robert Baker.
Monica is tied into this case through a mountain of circumstantial evidence. When you have one piece of it, you can disregard it real easy. When you have hundreds of pieces of circumstantial evidence that point to the direction of a person, then you really got to take a look at it.
Total death man.
On June 14th, 2017, police officially arrest both Rob Baker and Monica Cementilli for the murder.
Listen. I know, listen. Gotta get a lawyer immediately.
They were put in a police car that was monitored by video and audio. There was an operation that was conducted by Robbery Homicide Division, so it wasn't just simply, we're going to arrest them and take them to jail. A fictitious warrant was read over communications so that Monica and Rob Baker could hear that she had an active warrant for the arrest for the murder of Fabio Cementilli. And it was all used as kind of theater to put this into, their brains to see what they were going to say once they were in this car together.
Number 2, Monica Sonia Cementilli, wanted for 187 PC, first-degree murder for the murder of Fabio Cementilli.
What the
Get me out of this car!
What the
What they do say is somewhat incriminating. They talk about someone talked. A normal person, when they're arrested for the murder of their husband, doesn't say that someone talked. They go, I didn't do this. This is crazy. I didn't do this.
What is going on?
Ma'am?
Yes, I heard everything.
Okay.
What is this?
There's a warrant for your arrest for murder.
Oh my God, my husband was murdered 5 months ago.
Listen, I'm very sorry for your loss.
How can this be?
All I can tell you is you've got a warrant for your arrest, and I'm going to make a phone call right now.
Oh my God, please.
The discussions they were having indicated that there was an intimacy between the two of them and that they should keep quiet.
Get an attorney immediately, okay? Get you an attorney. Don't sue him. Don't say to nobody. Get a lawyer immediately.
Babe, I'm gonna
Rob Baker and Monica Simontilli were both charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder.
After Robert Baker and Monica Simontilli are brought in, investigators interview Monica at the Van Nuys police station.
I can't believe that, I don't believe that Rob did that.
Monica is telling us that she doesn't believe Rob Baker is involved in the murder.
The only other thing I can think of that his DNA would be in my house is probably when I cracked him in the hand when we played racquetball. And I brought the towel home. And I even showed it to my husband, and he said, don't bother washing it, I will get rid of it.
She makes up a story that, oh yeah, his blood got in the house because they were playing racquetball that day and she hit Rob Baker with a racquetball racket, which caused him to bleed. And the blood was transferred onto a towel and then probably transferred into the house by the towel. It sounded like the story had been concocted long before they were arrested.
Even with Monica and Baker in custody, investigators still come up with clever ways to get them together and get them talking.
When Monica Simontilli and
Lord Flacco, yeah, it looks like you're the only buddy in here, man. Looks like you're the only OG in here, homie. How you been? How you been?
Robert Baker were in custody and they were transported for their court appearances. They were put in small jail cells near each other. They were monitored by...
Trying on the Pure account, eh? That's sick, dude. That's fucking sick. How's it going? How's the Pure looking? I gotta go kill the Griffin. I'm trying to get the Griffin pet.
By audio equipment.
Just hang in there, baby. Just be strong. I need you. Just like you need me. Hopefully they give you bail.
Nothing is okay about this. Not for me, not for you. We should not be in here.
Huh?
Should not be in here.
I know, babe. So, we stick with the program, okay?
Conversations
Hello,
picked
appreciate
up
it.
as far as sticking with the program. Rob Baker at one point talks about if he needs to, he will, take the fall. He'll lie for her.
Don't let anybody lie to you, babe. Sticking to what
1,044 Ks.
That is be with you and support you and be your best friend. You hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I'm never gonna drop the ball. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I got you.
There was a conversation talking about how during count one night in jail, a custody officer had come by and had said, hey, Miss Simontilli, asking for count, and that she was upset at that person because they needed to refer to her as Miss Baker now.
They also do a lot of planning of their wedding. Like there's a fantasy aspect of this kind of going on, especially given the situation that they're in currently. They do some kind of mutual sexual stimulation. They declare their love for each other. And so the recordings that are captured in some of these conversations between the two of them is really damning. And it really does go to show.
I went bowling with my daughter earlier today for like family day / Valentine's Day. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. But RNG, exactly. I've already gotten like what, 6 or 7 Bell's Folly. I've gotten 6 Bell's Folly, bro. And I got 2 last night. Got 2 last night. In the other 4, I got one of their 1 in 400 draw. Pulled like I pulled a fucking muscle in my leg. Oh shit. Man, so yeah, I pulled like a muscle like right here. I can't pull a muscle like right here on the outside of my leg, bro. Like, so bad. It's a 1 in 833. Zenith is 1 in 300, bro. That's disgusting. Volcano. Okay, I got you. I got you. Volcanova. Volcanova. I got you, brother. Volcanova. I got you, Evan. God bless you, brother. Thoughts on stats? Let's check them out. Dude, you're a demon, brother. What the fuck? 99 range. I'm baked right now. No, I'm just whispering because my daughter's sleeping in the other room. I'm not trying to wake her up. I am gonna rip a toke out my window here, though. An indica.
The conspiracy part of it, from a legal standpoint.
At one point, there was a toothpaste tube that was left behind during a jail appearance. The toothpaste tube was recovered by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and the toothpaste tube was discovered to contain Rob Baker's semen.
All along the way in this relationship, there's such a sense of immaturity to some extent.
Dude,
You want to see
it's
mine?
gotta see me.
Sure. Okay. I can't see anything. What? I can't see it. I can't see it at all. What does it say?
Monica is having a conversation with one of her daughters, and she actually pulls her hair up and shows her on the back of her neck this kind of tattoo that says "Ride or Die," and she's proud of it.
You couldn't see it? It says ride or die. Okay, Mom. I'm kidding. It's just a pen. I wanted to joke around with you.
It's like she's showing off to her daughter. What it shows is Monica's relationship with Robert Baker has really eclipsed everything else in her life, including her concern for her daughters.
So due to the COVID-19 pandemic and pre-trial hearings, Monica and Baker's trial is delayed for 6 years. And then Baker does something that changes everything.
In July of 2023, Robert Baker pled open to the court for the murder of Fabio Simontilli. Pleading open to the court is essentially walking into the courtroom without a deal in place between the prosecution and the defense and changing your plea to guilty.
For about 6 years, Robert Baker denies that he has had anything to do with Fabio's murder. And then really on the eve of his trial, he does a complete about-face. And he pleads guilty to first-degree murder. So he decides not to go to trial.
Yeah, having the same
I think that
account,
must
bro.
have floored prosecutors. Have been a huge surprise.
It threw a giant monkey wrench into this case. At this point, Robert Baker and Monica Simontilli were being prosecuted together in the same case. So you would have Rob Baker and Monica Simontilli sitting next to each other at a defendant's table. Once Rob Baker pleads guilty, open to the court, that takes that away. Now it's just Monica Simontilli sitting by herself. It becomes a much more difficult case because we have direct evidence showing that Rob Baker is involved in the murder of Fabio Simontilli. We don't have that with her. We have circumstantial evidence.
Robert Baker is full of surprises because in an unorthodox move, he decides to write a letter to attorneys on Monica's behalf.
If you put this in context with the jail recording that we have of him telling Monica that I will take the fall, I will lie for you, I will do whatever it takes to get you out of here. I think it's really important because what happens next is you get this letter that's sent off to Monica's attorneys where Rob Baker writes and says that he is fully responsible for what happened. Monica knew nothing. Rob Baker says he goes to the Simontilli house. He's going to leave a love letter for Monica on a windshield of a car. At that time, he's confronted by Fabio Simontilli, and in defense of his own life, he has to stab Fabio Simontilli. It didn't fit with the facts of the case, but it gave a plausible way for Monica to say that she had no idea that this was going to happen.
It really did force them, I think, to take a broader approach to gathering evidence.
Now, there was one aspect to the crime that authorities couldn't figure out at first. Remember the surveillance footage? Remember who was in it? That is when detectives get a huge break in the case.
Throughout the investigation of Fabio Simontilli's death, they were able to track down Robert Baker pretty quickly. They did not, however, initially have the name of the unidentified person that was with Robert Baker when the murder happened. But prior to Monica Simontilli's trial, they did find that individual.
There was a money trail showing some payments to Christopher Austin. Christopher Austin was discovered to be the second individual seen running up to the house and involved in the murder himself. There was flight data of him flying from Alaska to California. He was there the date of the murder. He actually flew in the day before the murder and flew out the night of the murder back to Alaska.
I'm really sad that I'm here.
I understand, and to be honest with you, it's not the favorite part of our jobs.
I understand. I can tell.
Sometimes things happen, but, you know, we're all human, okay? You seem like a good guy.
Christopher Austin's father and Rob Baker were friends. He was the big uncle to Christopher Austin. At the time of the murder and prior to that, Christopher Austin looked up to Rob Baker. And so he would do odd jobs. He would send Christopher Austin out to go pick up food and go do things and whatever needed to be done, and Christopher Austin would do so.
Honestly, detective, I've always tried to do good. And this one day, I was a part of a horrible thing. And I have cried so much. It
Yo,
goes to
for
show
real,
no
give me the
matter
pet.
what good you do, you do a super bad thing, it doesn't matter.
He talks about the fact that his friend, Robert Baker, had approached him, said he needed help, had told him initially that Monica was in an abusive relationship and he needed his help. He wanted him to be the lookout person. He implied there would be some financial benefit to him as well. And so Christopher agrees to essentially help Robert Baker with this murder.
He said, we're gonna go get this.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, and we go.
And then what does that mean, go though? You did what? You went to
We
the
hurt him.
Well, it wasn't just hurt.
Yeah, I know.
Did you stab him at all? I know this has been weighing on you a long time, alright? But it's important for us to know. But from you is what I'm asking for. How many times did you stab him? Was that once? Where?
Christopher Austin says that when they got to the Cementilli residence, that the front door was unlocked. Rob Baker knew this information, that the front door would be unlocked. They came into the house. It was a 1, 2, 3, go, is what he said. And they rushed into the backyard. Christopher Austin held down Fabio Cementilli while Rob Baker did the majority of the stabbing. Christopher Austin admits to stabbing Fabio Cementilli once. Then they ransacked the house and got in the car and they took off.
I'm a horrible person. He told me I wasn't. He said it's not your fault. You're a good person. And I was so mad. I'm hurt that I'm here.
He was arrested, convicted, and he agreed to cooperate against Monica Cementilli.
This is a homicide case that's going to look an awful lot like a Hollywood movie, except that it's reality. You're going to learn a lot about the defendant, Monica Cementilli. You're going to learn about her lies and deception, and ultimately, the murder of Fabio Cementilli, her devoted husband of almost 20 years.
The prosecution's case was pretty straightforward. They argued that Monica Cementilli had a motive to kill her husband, i.e. the life insurance policies, because she was having an affair and wanted to leave her husband, and that affair continued on.
We have not, from the start of this case 7.5 years ago, ever once contested that Monica Cementilli probably made the most fatal mistake of her life when she entered into an affair with Robert Baker. But that has nothing to do with Monica wanting Fabio dead or conspiring to kill him.
The defense argued that anytime you have an affair doesn't mean you are committing murder. They argued that Robert Baker acted alone, that there was no evidence that established beyond a reasonable doubt that Monica Cementilli was involved.
The prosecution calls their star witness, Christopher Austin, to the stand and asks him about Monica Cementilli's alleged role in this murder.
What was the plan?
Plan was to have him killed. Baker told me she's loaded, she wants him gone, she's gonna get paid.
Did he specifically state insurance money?
He did. He said once we get this insurance money, like we're gonna be good. There's gonna be plenty of money where that came from.
Did he tell you how he knew Fabio was gonna be home alone?
No, he said it was a text. He kind of jolted. He said, yo, he's home alone. He said she's gonna leave the door unlocked.
And when he said she, did he tell you who she was?
The defendant.
When you got to the front door, was it unlocked?
It was indeed unlocked.
Christopher Austin testified that he had been to the Simontelli home before. In fact, on one occasion, he had gone there with Robert Baker, and Monica Simontelli was in the home. She showed them around so that they knew what the home looked like, and she even fed them pizza so that they had a good familiarity with the home, and that she, Robert Baker, and himself were part and parcel of this crime.
What happened when you came through that door?
Baker had covered his mouth. I started stabbing him, had to cover his eyes. I stabbed him most.
So you recall then that you stabbed him one time. Where was that at?
On the neck.
Was he still seated in the chair?
Yes.
Christopher Austin says that he never talked to Monica directly in terms of her giving him instructions about the video surveillance or about the door being open. But he did say that Robert Baker had told him that Monica was giving him all these things and that he had observed Robert Baker texting with her on the day of the murder.
But on cross, the defense challenges Austin's account, trying to poke holes wherever they can.
You knew already that Mr. Baker had been sentenced to life without parole, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you knew you were facing that as well, correct?
Yes.
And you knew the only way you could save yourself was to testify on behalf of the prosecution, correct?
To tell the truth, yes.
To testify also, correct?
Yes.
So it was at that time was the first time that you ever said, oh, Mr. Baker told me that Monica Simontelli wanted him dead for insurance money, right?
After I spoke with my attorney, yes.
Right. And your attorney told you if you stick to this you've been telling, you're getting no deal.
Objection here, sir.
I'll withdraw the question, Your Honor. I apologize.
To counter Austin's testimony, the defense calls Robert Baker himself to the stand.
Did you plan and execute the plan to murder Fabio Simontelli?
Yes.
And did you, in fact, do so?
I did.
You see the defendant seated over here, Monica Simontelli?
Yes.
You knew her well at the time of the murder, is that right?
Yes.
Is it fair to say you were in a romantic or sexual relationship with her?
Yes, you could say that.
Was that true?
Yes.
Did she have anything to do with the planning or the execution of the plan to kill Fabio Simontelli?
No.
You're sure?
I'm positive.
Does that remain your testimony under oath today?
Yeah, it is.
Prior to Monica Simontelli's trial, nobody knew whether Robert Baker was going to come in and testify. But lo and behold, he did. And what he testified to was that he had done this crime without Monica Simontelli's knowledge, that he had done it because he wanted her to himself and that he was going to get rid of Fabio Simontelli for him, not for her.
This is obviously key testimony for Monica. And yes, when he was questioned by the defense, he was calm, he was cooperative, but his demeanor completely changes when the prosecution gets their chance.
You have repeatedly changed your story in this case to fit the evidence, correct?
Officially, no.
When you say officially, I don't know what that means. I'm just asking you. You have repeatedly changed your story to fit the evidence in this case, correct?
Are you asking me or are you telling me what to say?
Your Honor?
On an official statement, I've been honest with you. On everything else is nothing.
So if you were to have a conversation with defense counsel where they're asking you to tell the truth and you lie to them, you would consider that to be unofficial?
True.
So it's okay that they asked you to tell the truth and that you repeatedly lied to them?
I did lie to them.
He had told many, many different stories before that, so he was not credible. He had a hard time on the stand remembering the lies he told. And in fact, on cross, it was clear he had lied in his testimony on direct.
The prosecution pulls out all the stops to prove Monica's involvement in this homicide. And as an example, They played the jury recordings of some of the conversations she had with Robert Baker while they were in custody.
How does it look? Be writing to you after they told me they found your DNA.
I'll take it to my. I'll take the blame with me. I know, but I'll take the blame. I'm lying. I'm not gonna do it. I will lie to get you out of this. But if I got to blatantly possibly lie to a jury that they can't take it back, you take the blame. Gotta marry. Gotta do still what? I think you're the best candidate.
I already said.
That's extremely damning, especially in light of the letter that's written after Rob Baker pleads guilty in this case.
After more than 2 months of dramatic testimony, the trial of Monica Cementilli heads into closing arguments.
We're not here because she's a cheater or a liar or any of the other words that you could use. We're here because she's a killer. She's the mastermind. The defendant wasn't going to do the dirty work herself, right? She's not going to kill Fabio. But she knew that Baker would because Baker is a stone-cold killer.
We're not here to decide whether or not Monica Cementilli was a bad wife, an adulteress. You are here to decide if she's been proven guilty of first-degree murder. Robert Baker and Christopher Austin committed first-degree murder, conspired to do that.
Boy, did she make a stupid mistake.
Mistake that brought a man into the lives of her family that she will have to live for the rest of her life. And she is guilty of a lot of things. Stupidity, duplicity, lying, adultery, but she is not guilty of murder.
The jury goes to deliberate, and they have a tough job ahead of them. They have to weigh the competing testimonies of 2 confessed murderers. So who are they going to believe? Christopher Austin for the prosecution, or Robert Baker for the defense?
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Monica Cementilli, guilty of the crime of murder of the first degree. In the same case, we, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Monica Cementilli, guilty of the crime of conspiracy to commit murder.
After being convicted on all charges, Monica then heads to sentencing. And this is where Fabio's sisters, Loretta and Morella, deliver just absolutely powerful victim impact statements.
On January 23rd, 2017, my brother Fabio was ambushed in his own backyard, stabbed multiple times. One of those wounds pierced straight through his heart. And the person responsible wasn't a stranger. It was the woman we had welcomed into our family for over 20 years, his wife, Monica. You can go ahead and call yourself Mrs. Baker now because you lost the right to the Cementilli name. The world sees you now for what you are, a whore and a murderer. You shattered your daughter's futures, stole their innocence, and destroyed the safety of their world. Let this stand like a punch to your face, to your body, to your rotten soul.
Since the day I met Monica over 25 years ago, I respected her like a sister because my brother wanted to build a life with her. Reminiscing is too painful and it deepens the wounds. She is a complete and utter stupid. Watching her dressed like a slut for Baker, living 6 months off of blood money. Only a devil can manipulate a reality to suit her comforts. In all my worst nightmares, I could never have fathomed this calculated plan. Monica, you are a demon. She can't even look at me. Today, a life sentence will set us free for the wretched pain she put us through. To my beloved brother, Fabio, you can finally rest now. Let your love and our words rest your soul. Justice has been served here on earth. Go now. Go to the arms of those who went before you. Our father, our mother, our uncles and cousins. They're waiting to welcome you into God's eternal embrace. You are safe now. No more suffering, no more fear, only light, love, and peace.
And then Monica and Fabio's daughters deliver their victim impact statements. And you have to imagine how conflicted they must be, considering they're the children of both the victim and the perpetrator.
In the spirit of trying to heal from this very horrible situation, I'd like to speak about my parents, how I remember them. I often watch old home videos just to hear his voice, to hear his laugh. I want to remember what it felt like to have a dad, to be wrapped in that kind of love and the protection. And then there's my mom, my rock. Now that we're grieving both our parents, I won't have my dad to walk me down the aisle one day. I won't have my mom to help me when I become a mother myself. And yet I will keep going. I'll keep fighting for justice, for the truth, and for my mom.
My name is Isabella. I'm the youngest daughter of Monica and Fabio Simontilli. My mother was the best. She did everything for me. She gave up her career, left her family, all to support my dad and give us a good life. Many people think because I stand by my mother that I don't miss my father. That is false. I think about my dad every single day. My dad was the biggest loss of my life, and it pains me that he will never know this version of me. To my mom and dad, I love you, I miss you, and I will forever remember you dancing in the kitchen.
After the victim impact statements from both sides, this is when the judge hands down his sentence.
I do find that the defendant was the mastermind in this conspiracy to commit murder. Baker did not have the intelligence to plan such a brutal, well-thought-out slaughter. The defendant was the prime mover in this execution of a human being. The defendant is sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.
It's lust, right? I mean, it's one of the deadly sins, and you know, she fell into it. It's so easy in this world to be a good person, and she could have, if she had these feelings that she wanted to do something outside of her marriage, just go to Fabio and say, look, I think I'm done here. And that would have been the easy and the correct thing to do. But she chose to do this instead. And so now you have a family that's destroyed, and so she's absolutely deserving of being in prison for the rest of her life.
Pay attention to this footage as it hides two disturbing secrets. It was taken at a Little League baseball game in 1995. The people sitting here in the stands are Colleen Nick and her 6-year-old daughter, Morgan. They appear to be watching the game as it runs late into the night. Soon after, the footage shows little Morgan is no longer with her mother. But look closely. Behind the fence, we see her running to go play with friends. This footage was filmed just minutes before Morgan disappeared. Earlier that day, another parent films the same game. In the back, the video captures a red pickup truck with a white camper. After investigation, police discovered the truck did not belong to any parent there that day. And what's worse, the same red pickup truck with the white camper was seen in the parking lot the last time Morgan was seen. 2 months later, a man named Billy Jack Lings is arrested after trying to abduct an 11-year-old girl. just 8 miles from where Morgan disappeared, and Lynx was seen driving a red pickup truck with a white camper. 3 days later, Billy Jack Lynx is cleared of all charges in Morgan's case. For nearly 30 years, the circumstances in which Morgan Nick was abducted would remain a mystery until one mother who never stopped searching for her daughter finds that the truth has been hiding in plain sight. Alma, Arkansas, June 9th, 1995. Colleen Nick and her 6-year-old daughter Morgan are at home getting ready to go watch the Little League baseball game. The two younger siblings are staying over at their grandmother's house that evening, so Colleen can have a night out, just her and Morgan. That same day, just a few miles away from the baseball field, a man tries to kidnap a little girl outside the Alma laundromat, but the mother is able to grab her away. The man drives off, and the incident goes unreported. It's nighttime. Colleen and Morgan are at the baseball field, and the game is running late. The kids sitting in the stands are becoming restless. Some are already running around, playing behind the bleachers. At one point, 2 kids run up to Morgan and ask her if she can come play.
Morgan sat with me. You know, she was 6 years old. She was a little bit on the shy side, a little bit quiet, and she didn't want to go play with them, and she just wanted to sit with me. And I remember she kept untying my shoes, and I had to pretend like, oh my gosh, how did that happen? And she would just laugh and laugh. You know, it's just the most hilarious thing to her.
It's 10:30 p.m. The game is almost over. The 2 kids return to Morgan and ask her if she wants to go catch fireflies. For the first time, Morgan turns to ask her mother if she can go, but Colleen says no.
I didn't think it was a good idea, that I thought it was too late and too dark.
I was thinking about the times that I have been told that I was too overprotective as a parent, that I need to find a space to let my kids have a little bit of freedom.
Other parents try to reassure Colleen, telling her it's safe, that kids have been playing there all night, and with the double fence, you can clearly see all the way around.
That's when I had that feeling like something was wrong. I thought to myself, I'm being ridiculous, I'm overprotective. She really wanted to go catch those fireflies, and I think the thing I remember most is how happy she was when I told her she could go.
Morgan throws her arms around her mom's neck and gives her a hug. She kisses her on the cheek and climbs down out of the stands, following the 2 kids to the parking lot. Colleen can clearly see her daughter from where she's sitting. She tries to put her worries aside and turns her attention back to the game. It's 10:40 p.m. The game is over, and she sees the 2 kids returning from the parking lot, but Morgan is not with them. Colleen is terrified. She runs over and starts looking between the cars, inside and under, but Morgan is nowhere to be found. Some parents who attended the ball game take part in the search, but Colleen doesn't waste any time. She asks someone with a cell phone to call the police. Sergeant Harris is the first to arrive at the scene.
At that time, I was only like a mile away, and as soon as I pull up, I see a group of people.
The mother is frantic. She tells Sergeant Harris she believes her daughter has been kidnapped. With her are 10-year-old Ty and 8-year-old Jessica, the 2 kids Morgan left to play with.
And I recall one of the kids telling me, can't recall which one it was, but telling me that there's a man had come up.
A man leaning against his truck while we were playing. I mean, it was a little strange, but we were around adults all the time. Like, you're so innocent then, you don't think anything, and you're just running around laughing.
The man had been standing there next to his truck, watching them with the door open. After playing there for a few minutes, Ty and Jessica saw that the game was over, and they told Morgan they were going back to see their parents. Morgan followed, but as they leave the sand pile, the 3 of them stopped to empty their shoes. Morgan was sitting by the back of the truck. Ty and Jessica were near the front. When her friends left, they were convinced she was close behind. That was the last time anyone saw her.
And if I just would have stopped, or like we would have stayed together better, then it wouldn't have ever happened.
The 2 kids described the suspect as a white male with a scruffy beard, wearing shorts but no shirt. Jessica also gives a description of the vehicle he was driving, a red pickup truck with a white camper on it. As more officers start to arrive, they secure the parking lot crime scene with yellow tape. Some officers go knocking door to door, looking for witnesses, while others organize the search. Knowing Morgan is inside a moving vehicle makes it imperative to find her quickly. Chief of Police Russell White contacts other agencies to ask for help. The state police and the FBI join the efforts.
We really think we've kind of narrowed it down. We think it's a good possibility it's a red truck. We still don't know make. A red pickup with a white camper, white male, dark hair, short, dark beard. And of course, last time he was seen, no shirt.
June 10th, the two kids, Jessica and Ty, are brought into the police department to help create a composite sketch of the man they saw. This sketch is then shared with every news outlet, and soon, everyone in Arkansas is talking about the kidnapping.
It's been almost 24 hours since Morgan disappeared from the Little League field in Alma.
Morgan was only supposed to be away from her mother, Colleen, for a few minutes. She said she wanted to hunt for fireflies with her friends.
We needed Colleen involved, so we convinced Colleen to be involved, basically dragging and kicking and screaming into the press room that you've got to do this. She did well at it, and she got better at it, and she learned that it was a tool, and she learned how to use it.
My daughter never ran off. She's very shy, and she's very quiet. She wouldn't go off by herself in the dark. She did not run off.
Look at everybody you go by, look at every truck you see, and think that if it was your child, how much you would want him to come home. Set it on her head.
How much you love me?
I really think that.
As the hours pass, the chances of finding Morgan alive decrease. Colleen can't stop thinking about the events leading up to the kidnapping, about how she let her daughter go play against her intuition, about how people told her she was too overprotective, and about her last dinner with Morgan before they left the house that night.
What I specifically remember is really making grilled cheese sandwiches for dinner that night because my kids love grilled cheese. Morgan and I got ready to go to the game, and then I specifically remember I remember Morgan asking for a second sandwich, and I didn't really have time to cook it, and she wasn't a real big eater, and so I didn't really think that she needed it, and I didn't make it for her. That still bothers me.
As the investigators try to locate and identify every person present at the ball game that night, they uncover crucial footage filmed by a parent at the game. The video was filmed earlier, the same day Morgan was kidnapped. In the back, you can clearly see a red pickup truck with a white camper on it. After further investigation, no one who was at the game can say who the truck belongs to.
A question: can a piece of home videotape help police find Morgan Nick? Well, a viewer may have caught the alleged kidnapper's truck on tape, but will this help the investigation?
It doesn't really look like a Ford pickup truck, and we're not real sure about this camper shell. And we have tried to examine this pickup truck closely. In fact, we've had some enlargements made. We've gone to 400 times.
It doesn't take long for tips to start pouring in. Hundreds of people report sightings of a similar red truck.
Tim Reed of Alma was pulled over twice in his pickup, but he doesn't seem to mind.
You know, it was a little hassle, but it's good to know that they're out to capture him.
However, there are some people who say they're being hassled by the public just because they drive a truck that looks like the one police are trying to find.
We'd like to caution the general public from taking any type of enforcement action.
If you think you see the truck police are looking for, jot down the license plate number and call them. And if you drive a red Ford pickup truck, police say, be patient.
The investigation has narrowed the search to Ford trucks only after one witness claimed they saw the pickup that night. The problem is, the little girl who was playing with Morgan gave police a different description of the vehicle.
I felt like it would look more like a Chevy would, like an old Chevy. At the time, I remember thinking, because we had a Chevy truck, it reminded me of that. Just the way it was shaped, the squareness, the boxiness of it.
There's a chance everyone is out there looking for the wrong truck. Days pass, and still, investigators haven't found any trace of Morgan, but the search doesn't lose momentum. The people of Alma and the state of Arkansas have come together to help bring her home. Reminders come in the form of flyers, bumper stickers, t-shirts, and billboards, all of which have been donated by the community. a command center has been set up to collect information, check out leads, and hold press conferences. Some people even turned it into a temporary home. People also start holding benefits to raise money for a reward fund. Morgan's parents are overwhelmed by the amount of support they've received so far.
They don't have to care. It doesn't affect their lives. You know, we have a lot of friends around here who know us, and it affects you personally, but these are people who just, they don't know us at all.
Yeah, well, I guess we don't get a chance to say appreciate everybody enough, but, you know, I want to thank everybody who is helping. Like I say, Morgan, you know it's Father's Day. I want to see you before the day's over.
I remember sitting in the car that night, and storms had moved in. It was raining, lightning. I mean, it was a bad thunderstorm. I just sat out there in the car by myself. With horrible thoughts going through my head. And almost didn't make it through that night.
Some periods during the day, you're more hopeful that she'll turn up any minute. And, you know, some periods of the day, it's hard to stay hopeful. But, you know, just gotta keep staying hopeful. That's the only way to keep going.
The local search goes national, and Morgan's story appears on America's Most Wanted.
I'm John Walsh with an urgent missing child alert. If we ever needed your help, we need it now.
The attention brings in new leads, but there's one in particular that is the most promising. June 24th, nearly 200 miles away in Stuttgart, Arkansas, a man files a report claiming he spotted a young girl who fits Morgan's description. Police mount a large search in the wooded area where the sighting happened. Colleen and her family are flown in, awaiting her rescue.
We would like our patients to be the first ones she sees. We want her to know how much we love her and we miss her.
But the reunion never happens. The man who filed the report is identified as Albert Harvey. He admits he just wanted the attention.
I'm so sorry, y'all. I don't really know how to explain to y'all and say how sorry I am for y'all out here wasting your time.
Harvey is charged with interfering with government operations and falsifying a police report. But perhaps his worst crime was to break the heart of Morgan's mother.
We are looking for you so hard so you can come home.
We were stationed in Europe, and Morgan was born there. And the night that we went into labor, the entire 4 hours that we were there, our nurse only spoke one word of English. The only thing that she could say was push. And, you know, I remember Morgan being born, and the doctor handed her to me, and that was when I knew that I would always fight for her.
No one ever thought the search would last more than a day, let alone an entire year. What started as a community effort has reached across the country.
In her fight to find her daughter, Colleen created the Morgan Nick Foundation. She launched a personal campaign to help prevent more families from going through the same ordeal. She also teamed up with other parents of missing children to rally across the country for help, bringing her fight to Washington, D.C. She was there when the president signed an executive order mandating pictures of missing children to be placed in all federal buildings.
The more people who know about her, including the president, knowing that she's missing, the more we're going to get changed for missing children.
And so, do you believe your child is alive?
Yes, I believe my child is alive, and I will not give up hope until she comes home, because I am the only person who can fight hard enough to bring Morgan home. I'm the only person who cares enough, and I will not let her abductor win. I will find her, and she will come home. And believe for Morgan and show the world that we're going to fight for her, and we're going to bring her home, and we're going to end this nightmare, because she doesn't deserve this. I don't care what the odds are, and I do not care what the statistics are, because Morgan will come home.
March 2000, 5 years after Morgan's abduction, police are no closer to finding her. Just a few miles away from the baseball field in Alma, a man returns home with his wife and finds his neighbor's pickup parked in the driveway. When he walks into the house, he finds the neighbor assaulting his daughter. Police arrest 36-year-old Charles Ray Vines. After collecting a DNA sample from Vines, investigators compare it to evidence from other crime scenes in the area, and they get multiple hits. Vines is convicted for the murders of 58-year-old Juanita Wolford and 74-year-old Ruth Pearl Henderson, as well as the attempted murder of James Quall's daughter. All his crimes happened in close proximity to each other, and all within a 20-mile radius from where Morgan was taken. Charles Ray Vines immediately becomes a suspect in her case as well. Before his trial, prosecutors work out a deal with him. If he confesses to all his crimes, they agree not to ask for the death penalty.
The case of Juanita Wofford is now over. Charles Vines admitted before a judge he is guilty. Police would ask Vines questions about unsolved cases, including Melissa Witt, Morgan Nick, Lori Murchison, Dora Doe, and Juanita Wofford. Vines tells the truth, he gets to live.
And while he confesses to the beating of a 93-year-old woman in Fort Smith, he denies any involvement in the disappearance of Morgan Nick.
Substitute while here in registered Morgan Smith and polygraph.
Investigators would love to think the right suspect is finally behind bars, but they have no evidence linking him to the case. And for Colleen Nick, it's clear they should keep looking for other suspects.
Everybody would like to think that this is over and that we have, you know, the big bad kidnapper in jail. That means everybody's safe and there's not a predator roaming our streets. The problem is, it stops the lead. Morgan's not home. Even if this is our kidnapper, even if this is our suspect, the leads can't stop because Morgan's not home.
As the years pass, it becomes harder to keep law enforcement engaged. Colleen is doing everything she can to make sure her daughter's case doesn't go cold. But one thing she succeeds in is ensuring the people of Arkansas keep Morgan in their hearts. Because of her, the leads have never stopped coming in.
This is where we store the leads in Morgan's case.
An entire room inside the Alma Police Department is dedicated to the 1995 kidnapping of then 6-year-old Morgan Nick. Thousands and thousands of tips from people across the country. As for Colleen, she has never given up hope that her daughter will come home. She has kept her room ready for the day she sees Morgan again.
We know that kids survive, and we have to keep fighting for them and give them the opportunity to come home. Until someone can show me that Morgan didn't survive, I'm absolutely going to fight for her. And I do believe that I will look her in the eye someday, and I will be able to say to my daughter, I always knew that I would find you.
The year is 2019. 24 years after her abduction, Morgan would be 30 years old. Russell White, the chief of police who was there at the very start of the investigation and who rallied to have every law enforcement agency involved, is now retired. But he's made sure his replacement, Chief of Police Jeff Pointer, won't give up on Morgan.
I just came in with open eyes and open ears and took suggestions from other investigators.
That same year, Detective Brett Hartley is assigned as Alma's lead investigator, and he's determined to look into everything that was done on Morgan's case since June the 9th, 1995.
What if someone did miss something?
It's our duty to protect, and we have not found her and we have not brought her home.
The first thing Detective Hartley looks at are witness statements from the day of the abduction. He quickly discovers that Morgan Nick and the 2 kids with her were not the only people that day who had contact with the man driving a red truck. And when you put all the locations of each sighting on a map, it paints a very clear picture.
The first location is a teenage white female. She has a truck drive past her, pull over in front of her, and back up to her. The first thing that this individual says to her is, "Would you like a ride to downtown Alma?"
Downtown Alma is where Morgan was abducted from. When the girl refuses, the driver doesn't leave, and she's forced to run away, terrified. Location number 2. 2 young children, 5 and 6 years old, who were playing on their front lawn, come running inside the house, screaming and crying. When their mother looks outside, she sees a red pickup truck with a white camper.
Location number 3 is going to be in downtown Alma. A couple of teenage boys, they're walking from the older baseball field.
The boys see a red pickup truck with a white camper after the man stops and yells at them for being in the road.
One of those witnesses watches the truck turn onto Walnut Street.
Walnut Street leads to the baseball field. Location number 4, again, 2 10-year-old boys are yelled at by the same male driver in a red pickup truck for being in the road.
Number 5, I would call definitely the parking lot where the abduction occurred. Everything within that time frame is a very short period of time. It led a track right to downtown, right to the abduction.
Location number 6 is captured on video by a parent at the game between 5:30 and 7 p.m. Location number 7. Within a 10-minute period of the abduction, a group of teenagers are parked near the river when they see the same vehicle come in.
One of them went as far as to say that they felt like they observed the adult male driving the truck, potentially holding a child down in the front seat of the truck.
The teenagers come forward, and the next day, officers return to the location with them. Unfortunately, there's been a heavy rain in northwest Arkansas, so the teenagers are unable to find the exact spot because of the flooding.
I'm very comfortable that from location number 1 all the way to location number 7, I'm looking at the same truck. I'm also very confident I'm looking at the same subject. We face the fact that there is a potential that Morgan was washed away with floodwaters.
As it turns out, some of the witnesses who had provided information on the red truck had also given license plate numbers.
In August of '95, they ran those tags. Every one of these tags have returned no record.
Detective Hartley runs those tags again, this time through the FBI's national database.
And I get some hits. I pull the photograph out, and I'm looking at a red truck with a white camper. I think, oh my God, I'm looking at the truck.
As Detective Hartley tries to contact some of the witnesses from that day, one of them shows up at the station. The man appears irritated because he says he's already shared this information before.
He immediately tells me that I'm the one with the information that you need. Starts talking to me about an individual that he believes could be responsible for Morgan.
August 29th, 1995, because he says, this time, through the FBI's national database.
And I get some hits. I pull the photograph out, and I'm looking at a red truck with a white camper. I think, oh my God, I'm looking at the truck.
As Detective Hartley tries to contact some of the witnesses from that day, one of them shows up at the station. The man appears irritated because he says he's already shared this information before.
He immediately tells me that I'm the one with the information that you need. Starts talking to me about an individual that he believes could be responsible for Morgan.
August 29th, 1995. An 11-year-old girl is with her 2 brothers at the local Sonic when a drunk man driving a red Chevy pickup truck stops in front of them to talk. At first, he offers the boys money, trying to get them to leave so he can be alone with the girl. They refuse and start walking away, but the man insists. He offers the girl money.
She naturally tells him no. She says she's going to call the police.
The man then drives off in a hurry, crashing his car into a telephone pole before fleeing the scene. However, one man witnessed everything from the bank across the street. He takes down the license plate and files a report. Police identify the suspect as 71-year-old Billy Jack Lynx. When they show up at his house, they find the red pickup truck with damage to the front. Lynx is immediately put under arrest and sent to the FBI for further questioning in relation to Morgan's case. What's more, one neighbor who was interviewed by investigators reveals another damning piece of the puzzle.
That witness tells the state police investigator, up until a couple of months ago, that truck had a white camper on it.
When Detective Hartley reads into the case files, he finds out Lynx's red pickup truck was searched by state police after his arrest. Documents show investigators found duct tape, a tarp, rope, and a machete inside the truck. They also found hair fibers and blood. But in 1995, DNA technology was still in its infancy, so samples of the blood and hair were kept for future analysis. And Billy Jack Lynx was cleared of all charges in Morgan Nick's case.
And what it looks like is that he was given a polygraph exam, apparently passed his polygraph, and that was the end of the lead being ran on him. It was very apparent to us this person looked very interesting to them in Morgan's case as well.
Lynx was sent to jail in 1995, 2 months after Morgan's disappearance, and was sentenced to 6 years for attempted kidnapping of the 11-year-old girl at the Sonic. He died in jail on August 5th, 2000.
Where we are 25 years later is unfortunately not able to put our hands on those items.
To Detective Hartley, Lynx is the most obvious suspect, but without any physical evidence, the case cannot be solved.
I have always believed that they're going to solve this case. They're going to find Morgan and that we're going to get justice for her. You know, the probability says that 2% of missing children like Morgan who are abducted by a stranger who are missing more than 2 years, the probability that they will come home is only 2%. The possibility is that 2% do survive. That means that until someone can prove that Morgan didn't survive, the possibility remains that she survived.
Colleen Nick has never stopped looking for her daughter, and every day since, she's been committed to protecting children in her community. In 2019, she helped launch a new program called the Child Abduction Response Team, or CART for short.
We now have 12 trained CART teams spread around the state, each one attached to a state police headquarters.
In January 2020, 6-year-old Julian Boyd went missing after his parents were found murdered in their home.
Our local certified child abduction response team, also known as CART, helped in the search. Just 2 hours later, the boy was found.
When this child went missing in Sherwood this morning, they could gather their CART team. They could immediately call out all the resources they need.
What Colleen has built will go on to save countless children who, like Morgan, need the public's help to be found. She knows that if all this had existed in 1995, her daughter might still be here with her.
You know, there are days when the grief of this, it takes me to my knees, I'm just telling you. But at the end of that moment or at the end of that day, I know that I have to keep fighting for Morgan. If I'm not fighting for Morgan, honestly, eventually nobody else will. My job is to make sure that anybody who is involved in her case continues to fight for her with passion, that they feel her in their hearts and that they want to do everything in their power to fight for her. And if I don't do that myself, I can't expect other people to do that.
It's the year 2020 when Detective Hartley and his team finally locate Billy Jack Link's truck. After spending years impounded in a tow yard, it was auctioned to a private owner.
When first arriving at the truck and seeing the truck for the first time, I was actually pretty surprised with how decent of condition it was in. You can actually see where a camper shell used to be on the bed of the truck.
The red pickup truck is not a Ford, but a Chevrolet Scottsdale. The same make 8-year-old Jessica said she saw.
I felt like it would look more like a Chevy would, like an old Chevy. At the time, I remember thinking, because we had a Chevy truck, it reminded me of that.
It's also a clear match to the truck from the baseball field video footage.
FBI ERT, while processing, actually removed what is believed to be the original floor cover of this truck. And under that floor cover, they located a blonde hair.
The blonde hair is sent to the FBI lab to be compared with a sample of Morgan's hair provided by Colleen. If it matches, then they can say with confidence that Morgan was in Billy Jack Link's truck. After months of waiting on the lab results, Detective Hartley's team finally received the report.
After a review, we were able to look at the documents and see that the hair that was involved in the trace evidence came back inconclusive. There just wasn't enough information to pull anything from it.
This doesn't mean the hair is not Morgan's, but because it was too damaged, they can't prove that it is. And for the next 3 years, the truth remains hidden. Until 2023, when Colleen is researching new DNA technologies, she stumbles upon Othram Labs, a company who has been pushing scientific boundaries.
I called our detective and said, "Have you ever heard of Othram Labs?" And he said, "No." So I sent him the article and I said, "Read this."
Othram Labs promotes their use of newly developed methods that have helped solve decades-old cases.
And he said, "Yes, let's try it."
Detective Hartley agrees to send the blonde hair found in the truck to Othram Labs. It's a Hail Mary, but it's the best chance they've got to solve Morgan's case. On October 1st, 2024, nearly a year after the evidence was sent to the lab, the Alma Police Department holds a press conference. Colleen is there with her family.
On September 27th, 2024, Othram Laboratory
sent a report to Detective Taylor that the hair contained in the evidence was that of Colleen Nick, one of her siblings, or one of her children. The bottom line in this is that the physical evidence collected from the truck strongly indicates that Morgan had been in this truck. Did links have help in abducting Morgan or concealing his crime all these years? And where is Morgan now? I can tell you today that this investigation is not over.
After 29 years, Billy Jack Links has finally been identified as the man who kidnapped Morgan.
What I have to say about Billy Jack Links is that he stole Morgan from me. He stole her from her dad. He stole her from Logan and Taryn. But he didn't see that he could never win. Because our love for Morgan, her memory and her voice outlasted his life. And that love continues to shine.
Colleen has dedicated her life to improving child safety across the country, and although she now knows what happened to her daughter, her fight is far from over.
We can change that children wouldn't be taken, and that communities are educated, and that law enforcement knows how to respond, and that predators get jail sentences that don't allow them to get out again and commit these kind of crimes.
She was told she was too overprotective and that she should let her child go and chase the fireflies. And for years, Colleen has held on to that guilt.
It just lives in the back of my head, and I can't let it rule my life. I won't let it rule my life. I will not let the person who took Morgan steal anything else from us. You know, Morgan loved fireflies. That was the thing that made her willing to leave my side that night, was to go catch fireflies. Fireflies have become really a symbol of shining a light in the darkness.
Today, she carries a message of hope for other parents. She doesn't want the fear of what happened to Morgan to stop other children from chasing the fireflies.
Me too.
Jack. Whoever organized this, fucking legend. Fucking legend. I think it's my super compost. Yeah, that sucks. Dude. Loser. I think it was straight minutes, I bet. Probably fucked you up. I think it was, yeah, probably 3 they fucking murked. Ridiculous. Getting cooked right now. She's here till Monday. Otherwise, I'd be fucking yapping right now. Yeah. You'd be playing poker, freaking the fuck out, winning thousands of dollars. Seriously.
it.